What's going on, Low Gang? Welcome back to another absolute banger video. Today we got a very exciting build episode. Dory is getting new brakes. She's deserved brakes forever. Literally since I bought this car, I needed to do her brakes. But you know the drill, we had to do the aesthetic stuff first. Now the brakes are technically working okay. They stop the car, technically, but there is a glaring issue that has been making a fair bit of noise, and I'll show you that in a second once we get Dory up on jack stands and get her wheels off and everything. But I figured since we had to do the brakes anyway, we might as well upgrade just a tiny bit. So we got drilled rotors, nice new street pads, new brake pad wear sensors. I even have some new hardware for the handbrake because that's been on the fritz forever. So I got basically all of the basics to do a full kind of brake job without replacing the calipers. And I think that should solve all our problems, be a slight performance upgrade, and I'm sure Dory will stop much better overall. Okay, I think we're almost ready to go. I'm gonna do something a little bit ill-advised and do one side at a time. Honestly, I should probably do like all the fronts and then all the backs or vice versa. But I don't know, it's kind of hard to jack up the front of this car. It's easier to do it side to side, so I'm just gonna do that. Anyway, I got all my parts, all my tools laid out that I'm gonna need. So the actual braking components, I got all from FCP Euro. It came with these nice TRW street pads. It included brake pad wear sensors, and of course these beautiful cross-drilled rotors. Now, cross-drilled rotors maybe are not the best idea for a street car. I know over time they have a tendency to maybe crack at those drill points, but part of the reason I bought from FCP Euro is so that when they get old, when they get worn down, I can just return them and get new ones for free. Now, obviously, I think this goes without saying, this is not at all sponsored by FCP Euro. I have no relation to FCP Euro. I just buy everything from them. Especially with consumables like brake pads and brake rotors, I think a lifetime replacement guarantee makes a lot of sense. So whenever it comes time to replace all this stuff, I can package it up in the original box, ship it back to them, and I'll get new ones for free. Okay, on the tool front, I got very basic tools. This Craftsman set that has been with me for every single car project in my entire life. I got my impact here. Right now, I only have a 17 mil impact, so I'm just using it for the wheels. So we're gonna be going old school for the actual brake removal. And of course, I have my $40 torque wrench from Amazon. I'm sure on critical brake components, it's always good to use a cheapo torque wrench. I of course have some brake clean to clean off the surrounding area and the new rotors because they might have some manufacturing gunk on them. And I have some hardware for the handbrake. Now I've already replaced the driver's side rear handbrake hardware because back when my wheel bearing was going bad, I thought the squeaking was from the handbrake stuff. So I replaced all that, but the handbrake is still not functional on the right side of the car. So as we're replacing the rear rotors, we're gonna have the whole thing apart anyway. Might as well replace it with new stuff. Okay, I think that's about it. I'm gonna get cracking. I'm gonna start with the rear end because that's gonna be slightly more difficult, I think. And I always like to start with the hard stuff first so that the easy stuff is that much more fun. Watch me jinx it. It's definitely not gonna be easy. Anyway, let's get going. Let's get these new brakes on. right, we're finally done. I probably edited it together so that it looked like it didn't take a long time. That took forever. I've done stuff back here like 4 or 5 times already, and still every time I run into problems that I'm like not expecting. Everything is all done. We got the new clip, new pads. We greased everything up at any of the kind of movement areas back here. Everything is torqued down. Technically, I can't get a torque wrench on this carrier pin, so I basically just torqued this bottom one down to the correct 22 foot-pounds, and then I just used kind of by feel, like however tight that was, I tightened this one the same amount. Obviously, that's not scientific, but I think it'll be okay. One minor problem I ran into is that this bolt, the shoulder on it was like too big for some reason. This was never an issue before, so I think my mechanic who replaced my rear wheel bearing, I think he like lost the fastener and then replaced it with this one. What up, Logan? Editing Logan here. Quick correction. I don't want to slander my mechanic. He didn't do anything wrong. It was just the hub that he used didn't have space for the shoulder on that bolt to go in. That's it. He didn't do anything wrong. I ended up drilling out the hub. It's all good. Forgot to mention that. Enjoy the video. Anyway, let's do the front. Okay, we have hit a somewhat major delay. So I'm trying to take out this brake pad wear sensor, and that runs behind the coilover, in here, and into this plug within this little box here. This plug did not look like this when I started with it. I have somehow broken off everything trying to get this stupid yellow wires out of this. The replacement looks like this, right? So you can see in there, it is just a plug. I should be able to pull that out no problem, but it's definitely becoming a problem. I don't know why it's stuck in there, but my dad suggested getting the Dremel tool, so that's what we're gonna do. Alrighty, one side is all done. Everything's back in. The wear pad sensor finally got clipped in. Everything seems to be rotating pretty nicely. I did one final check around just to make sure I hadn't forgotten any like major components of the brakes, especially the front ones. That would be really bad. I might die, but I think everything's good to go. We're all torqued down on the main 2 bolts back here. Those are both 81 foot-pounds. The carrier bolts right here are 22 foot-pounds, and that's about it. You pop in the clip, you pop in the new pads, everything, and it's good to go. It's kind of nerve-wracking anytime I do anything with brakes because I know if I forget something, it would be really bad. And sometimes it kind of astonishes me just how few bolts hold together our brakes, but they're big beefy bolts. And in the back, it's basically the same story. I did really have to push in the rear piston with a C-clamp. I probably did it in kind of a dodgy way, but that was the only tool I had available. And once I did that, it slid right on. It actually slid on much easier than it slid off the old, like, busted up rotors. Now, I did hit these with brake cleaner just on the actual contact surfaces. Apparently, the coating that is on here, this kind of silver coating, that's supposed to wear off. So when you're bedding in the brakes, you're supposed to start, before you do like the big hard stops, you're supposed to do some kind of prolonged, relatively rapid slowdowns, and that's supposed to wear off all of that coating. So I don't know if that's like a standard thing or something specific to these coated rotors, but I'm glad that they're coated because I don't want the top hats rusting. That'll get ugly. Okay, so for the remaining 2 corners, I'm gonna do a time lapse because I don't want to bore you. It's gonna be the exact same thing except on the passenger side, there is not that really annoying pad wear sensor, so we don't have to deal with that again. That's great. Otherwise, everything is all the same, or it should be. We'll see. It's starting to get dark, so I'm gonna get going. Odd turn of events. I assumed that this side of the handbrake wasn't working because the cable had broken and was retracted into the cabin or something, and so it wasn't making those shoes expand. Turns out they took it out. I literally don't know how this could possibly happen. There is literally no handbrake mechanism on this side. That is not good. Maybe one of the previous owners had this wheel bearing replaced and the mechanic just decided not to include the handbrake. I don't know why, but that's so stupid and so dangerous. I thought it was just like an adjustment issue that I would be able to fix. Okay, so turns out we're gonna have to buy all new handbrake parts for one side of the car. I don't know if they sell them not in pairs. I don't know why they would. This is something that I presume doesn't happen very often, but this is by far the weirdest thing that I've found on this car so far. The previous owners were all really respectful to the car and kept it in really good shape, so I'm not sure how this happened. Also, there's no possible way it could have just like fallen out because it's encapsulated within this rotor. So like, anyway, that'll be a different video. We're gonna rock it no handbrake because we've made it this far. We'll fix that in another episode so that, you know, I don't roll backwards down a hill when I'm parked and die. Okay, real quick before we start the front, which is our last corner, I'm so excited. I want to show you actually the main reason I'm changing these brakes. Whenever I was making left-hand turns and the right side of the car was loading up, I could hear this kind of rotational humming, and I assumed it was a wheel bearing because the other wheel bearing went bad and I had to replace that. But upon closer inspection, the actual brake pad structure, not the pad material, but the metal part that actually makes up the brake pad, that is rubbing on the disc, and it's only rubbing on the disc because this lip is so horrendously huge. Do you see this? This is insane. I should not be driving it like this. Anyway, this outer lip is rubbing up against that brake pad and making terrible, terrible noises. Or at least that's what I think it is. So fingers crossed, the brake job will do it. If not, we got sweet new brakes. No biggie. Oh my God, it's finally done. That took, I think, 9 hours. Now, given I was filming, also, I'm not particularly good at working on cars. So if you do this, it may only take like 4 hours. But yikes, oh my God, I ran into so many problems. I edited some of them out because I want you to think I'm good at working on cars. Alright team, that's about when I ran out of storage space on my camera. But it was perfect timing because that brings us to the end of this kind of brake install saga. It's been about a week since I filmed that last clip, and in case you're wondering, Dory is stopping great. She's also not making that dumb rotational noise anymore, so that's awesome. And overall, I would say, despite it taking 9 hours, this was actually not that difficult of a project. I just delayed it a bunch by filming. If you have an E36 and you're thinking about changing the brakes, I would say go for it. Just don't forget any bolts, and you should be okay. It's really not that challenging. There's not that many bolts. As long as you have a torque wrench and the appropriate tools that I showed in the video, you should be good to go. You know, I believe in you. Anyway, next week, I think we'll have another build episode. I'm just waiting on parts to come in, but it's an exciting one. It's an exciting one. You're gonna wanna subscribe for this one. And with all that out of the way, I think it's time for the outro. That's it for today's video. If you liked the video, make sure to like the video. If you really like the video, make sure to subscribe. I make a new video every single week. Thank you so much for spending your time watching this video, and I will see you next time. Peace.